Welcome back, everyone, and happy Monday. I hope you had an amazing weekend and enjoyed a little bit of downtime. I would like to jump right back into part 2 of my conversation with Athea Davis and pick up where we left off. So I hope you enjoy part 2 as much as you enjoyed part 1. So let's get to it. Are you in a new season of your life? Are you stuck and searching for clarity so you can make a career change? Do you just need the courage to switch careers? Are you ready to follow God's plan for your career? Welcome to Choose Your Next Yes. Hi, Kindred. I'm Mel, a career transition coach, mom of grown-ups, coffee lover, and God girl. I've had a lot of big life changes, and I haven't always been clear about God's plan for me. This led to stress and anxiety and a lack of clarity and courage to make a career move. I finally started listening to God's voice to find clarity and peace and stopped being scared to make a move and achieve my career transition goals. Now, my mission is to help you learn to listen to God's voice and know when to say yes to the career you've always wanted and no to everything else. Let me show you how to clarify your purpose and find courage to pursue your personal and professional goals in your midlife and beyond. Throw down your self-doubt, dust off your dreams, Kindred. It's time to reset and refine and reclaim the woman you once aspired to be.
Basketball coach. I don't remember the basketball coach or the team. Maybe someone will remember. He once was talking about or coaching his team on making sure that even down to how they put their socks on and tie their shoes matters. So even the small stuff, it's like, okay, we are going to sweat the small stuff. If we're sweating the small stuff, we're sweating the big stuff, right? Like, so we're paying attention to the small details that impact the bigger details.
Yeah. And I think that just makes you more of a little more organized or put together in a lot of ways. Like a lot of people, even the sock thing, people like my son, my 18-year-old son will wear a white sock and a black sock, one's short, one's tall. He don't care. It's whatever two he grabs. And I'm like, some days he'll wear his boots with that. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure that's going to hurt later on when you don't have a tall sock on that one side. And, so just those mindful thoughts about even, like you said, those little things just really help guide your thinking on everything. Like you said, sweat that small stuff because, not to the point of anxiety necessarily, but definitely be mindful of all of your thoughts. So
just pay attention to the details. You discover new things. I think that's the fun. When you practice mindfulness on a walk or just mindful seeing or experiencing mindful eating, maybe when you're eating a meal, but you're not engaged in conversation, you're not watching a TV or a video or whatever it is, you're enjoying each and every texture and smell and taste. In those details, you discover just new things about yourself, the experience, life. And I think there's just so much inspiration to be discovered in everything.
Yeah,
quite honestly,
absolutely.
when we practice living that mindful living kind of life and existence.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are thinking about my women who are midlife, they're in a place now where they can make a pivot in their career. Maybe they were not able to make the choice they wanted before kids. And so now they're in a place where they can really do what they want to do and really become like reset and reconnect with the person that they've always wanted to be. So what advice would you give to my women on that who are ready to make that pivot in their career?
Yeah, I would say definitely make sure that you're spending the time to know yourself from the inside out. That's going to give you your own personal roadmap to discover who you are at this new juncture in your life. And a lot of that too is just reigniting like the inner spark of your inner child, thinking about all the things that, I think we get so serious when we become adults. And then we're raising kids and it's very stressful. And then once we have this new opening in our life, we're not committed to so much time raising kids because they are then becoming young adults, we do have that time to experiment, take adventures. It
Mhm.
doesn't have to be the perfect exact plan. When you probably know some things that you've always wanted to try. I feel like the world is a playground. And, oftentimes we think you have to do certain things to get, like, I guess what I'm trying to say is that just really expand your horizons. I feel like for me, for instance, I've just tried so many different things, put myself in so many different situations. I was never a dancer. I'd spent a week-long experience in a dance intensive with a professional dance company. It was amazing.
Wow.
I learned a lot. That may not be for you, but it's just, what are these things that you thought, oh, I would love to do that, but I don't have the time. I would love to go experience that, but I have this, all these things to do with my kids because of all the sports and events and this and that. Try to recall some of that. Or maybe you're attracted to something new. And whether it's reading or getting involved in a new skill of whatever sort, just try. And then you try it and you say, I love it. You try it and you say, okay, I've had enough. And then try something else. Because every single experience that you have is going to direct you to the next thing that you're being called to do. How do you even know where to start? Is that you start by tuning in, slowing down, practicing that mindful breath or the mindful walk. That's going to give you some direction of, okay, this popped up. Okay, that really resonates. Maybe it's a word. Maybe this activity pops up in your head. Pay attention to that. That could be, a really good message that, hey, I'm going to try that. This is what I'm going to go try. And then you put it on your list and go do it. And then maybe
Yes.
you'll love it. Maybe you don't. But that's my suggestion. Don't edit yourself.
That's great advice. And when you said spark your inner child, that is the second time in a week or a week and a half that I've heard that same message as well. It's amazing how God does that. He'll say one thing one day, and then a few days later, he'll say it again. And then you're like, hey, I heard that before. But I think that is great advice. And I also encourage my women to really think about things that they liked back when, before kids and that kind of thing. And so that is what I coach my coaching clients on, is we figure out their spiritual gifts. And then we also talk about the things that they can do with those spiritual gifts. So we open up their thinking on these are the things that God has given me. What can I do with that? And there are so many things, and we get really tunnel visioned, I think, sometimes in our thinking, and we don't really explore a lot of different options. And so I know, as I've been doing more research for my podcast, he's also, I can't talk tonight, but he's also said to really just be very open in your thinking about all of the possibilities of things that you can do, and not be very rigid like we tend to be. We've always heard, we hear this is what you can do with this, and this is what you can do with that. But there are so many things. And I think women are scared to use their talents sometimes and their passions. And through my research, he has also said, when it's time to pivot, you start to have new passions and new interests, and you need to pay attention to those as well.
Yeah, I think too, it's good to remind ourselves it's okay to get a little uncomfortable. You can still have fun being a
Yes.
little uncomfortable. And sometimes, you just need to change the scenery. Like sometimes just changing the scenery, going to, some kind of cultural thing, going to the theater, going to the museum, going to a concert. Sometimes you need to get yourself out of the situation, whether you're a homebody, and I love being at home. I love my quiet time when I can get it. And so sometimes it's just change the scenery, go to the park or wherever that you just haven't been, and place yourself there without, this is the hard, like without expectation. Just try to
exactly.
be in that moment, because also, inspiration can show up anytime. Creativity can show up. I think Elizabeth Gilbert, who wrote Eat, Love, Pray, she also wrote Big Magic. She talks about this too. When ideas come, it's like you have your baseball glove on. You've got to be ready to catch them. And that could be on a mindful walk. It could be in the shower. It could be in any of these places. But if you're intentional with creating that time in the morning, making sure you're sometimes, and if you're feeling really stuck, just putting yourself in a new context, whether that's going to an event that you don't normally go to, you just don't know what might occur in those spaces and places. You start
Exactly.
connecting different experiences you've had in the past to what you are experiencing now. And I think, the yes that you're looking for is also, what is your body saying to you? So this is also a mindful practice. It's,
Mm-hmm.
if you feel contracted, and typically not a great sign, but if you're feeling open, you're feeling a lightness and a brightness inside,
Mm-hmm.
that is information that says your body saying, yes, pay attention, step further in that direction.
That is great advice. That is great advice. I've never heard it put that way, but I love it.
Yeah.
And I really think that is a great way for them to think as well. I have a big shift in my career that's happening, and I just have this peace about it. So I know it's choosing the right next yes for me. And I've also encouraged my women, you said go do something new that they have really maybe never experienced before, or it's been a long time since they've experienced it. And I've also really encouraged my women to volunteer at some things that you are interested in. If you love animals, volunteer at a shelter, an animal shelter, or at the vet's office. Or if you love music, see if you can play at church, or, whatever it may be. Just try new things and see what really resonates with you, what really sets your soul on fire.
Absolutely. Yeah. I think we oftentimes miss these really pivotal moments in our day and our life because we're not aware of what's happening inside, these signals that we're getting, like, okay, turn left, turn right. This feels great. This doesn't feel great, because we're just going through the motions and the patterns that we've been setting in motion over the years, and we haven't investigated it. Is this really like bringing me life, or am I doing this because this is what I do?
Right. Exactly.
So you want to start asking, what is it that brings me fully alive? And when you become more reflective in these moments, practicing in your breath, noticing sensations in your body. Is this giving me like contracted feeling? My breath is getting short. Do I feel more calm, at peace? I feel like I'm more relaxed in my body posture, lighter and brighter. Again, like you want to go in that area. But if we're just filling our schedule up with 100,000 things that don't really matter just because that's how we've always done it, we're not really tuning into what we're needing authentically in that moment, and where we would like to authentically and with some intentionality go.
Absolutely. I agree totally. This has been a great conversation. I really, I think that all of these small steps are going to help my women to really start being more mindful in their thinking, which will lead up to those big career choices or life choices. And it doesn't even have to be career. Some of the ladies that I've talked to, one person wants to know whether they should change their church. And, that's a big decision, because my church was a church that I had gone to forever. And then I moved. And so it took me a long time to find a church I was happy with after that, because it wasn't my church. All of those things are, it's just really a lot of self-reflection and knowing yourself, and then being open. I had to really be open to a different church up here, not because they didn't think the same way that I do. They're just their thinking is a little bit different, but it was more about what is their core values. So that's where I ended up. Even though some of those little things are not necessarily what I agree with, I can live with those and just not be part of that.
Yeah, I think a really powerful question to ask yourself is, who do I want to be right now? And that's it. If you could be anybody you wanted to, you are yourself, right? But if I'm working towards something, who do I want to be right now? So I'm becoming this. Who do I want to be? Who do I want to become?
Yes.
And I think if you ask yourself those questions, what values who do I want to be? Meaning, what values do I want to exhibit? What are my core values? What does that look like? They change over time. Am I operating with my core values? Am I in alignment with them? Yes, no. Okay. Well, let's get straight there. Why? Why not? All right. What do I need to do to get in alignment? And you're going to, once you begin walking in that direction, having that self-reflection, taking those mindful walks and their mindful breathing, and just asking yourself, okay, what does this look like? I think too, what's really powerful is writing a future letter to yourself from 1 to 5 years from now. And you are describing yourself. You're saying, this is who you are 1 year from now. This is exactly who you want to be, how you want to feel, how you want to dress, the people around you, what you're doing in 1 year, 5 years. It's a powerful practice. So I want to leave you with that, because definitely try to share that with everybody, no matter how old you are. Because what I find others that use this practice, what they write down in these letters to themselves becomes the reality that they're creating, because the intentionality then that goes behind, and the energy that goes behind what they're putting from pen to paper, from thought pen to paper.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And just owning it and verbalizing it. And even if it's on paper, you're getting it out there. And so you feel more accountable that way.
Yeah.
This has been an absolute pleasure. I love talking with you. This is a great interview. Actually, I don't even like to call them interviews, because I don't feel like I'm just questioning my guest. I feel like you're a guest co-host. And so our guest co-host chat, I guess we'll call it, has been amazing. So Athea, tell us how my listeners can connect with you.
Sure. They can go to my website, atheadavis.com, follow me on social media, all the platforms, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, at Athea Davis. That's Athea Davis, at Athea Davis. Check out my podcast, Mindful Living with Athea Davis, on your favorite podcast platform. And if you have any kiddos, well, of course, I mean, like if you have kids in your life, teachers, friends that have kids, check out my book. Today's going to be Awesome Sauce, Daily Meditations for Youth, Parents, and Families. I would say, even if you didn't have kids and you're really looking to spark that inner child, you want to get a copy of this book.
Awesome. And I will have everything. Awesome sauce. Exactly.
I know. Yeah.
Exactly. And I will have all of those things linked in the show notes, so it's easier for them to find. And I just think this is a great place to stop. There's just so much going through my head right now that I'm going to have to go do some meditation and self-reflection here for a little bit. So
thank you.
Thank you so much. Great evening. Thank you again for coming on. And I appreciate you so much.
Thank you.